It is time for our mid-morning session now, sponsored by Evelyn Partners. We are very much looking forward to hearing from Dr. Catherine Russell, who is the Group Carbon and Sustainability Manager at Albert Bartlett, and also Alan LeMaitre, who is the CEO at the National Trust for Jersey. But first, a few words from our sponsor for this session. Please welcome a very familiar face, Matt Falla, the Managing Director at Evelyn, to the stage.
Good afternoon, just everyone. I think from memory, this is probably the fourth time I've stood on this stage now and talked at the farming conference. And that goes back to almost 5 years ago when I came back to the island from Guernsey, was approached by John Garton and convinced, not that it took much convincing, to become for what was then Smith & Williamson, to become the first patron of Genuine Jersey, and then also the sponsor of part of the farming conference. And as the fourth time I've spoken, every time I always sort of convince myself that at some point I'm going to write a long and detailed speech for this and have some wonderful images and presentations, and it never quite happens. But there is a method to that, because every time I come, and thankfully we have this session, it's amazing to absorb what's going on in the room and to feel the mood of the room and how that mood has, from my perspective anyway, changed year on year over the 4 years that I've been associated. And that's very little to do with our association, but all the hard work, I think, of not only the government and John Vautier, but also the various unions that have come together. But this year, thankfully, John and Farm Jersey have given me an out, because it says here that I'm only allowed a word. So, what is that word? What is the word that we can come up with that summarises not only what Evelyn does, but also what this conference is about, and also why we end up sponsoring and supporting things that we do, such as Regen, such as Farm Jersey, such as Bowl of Crock, such as Luminaries? What word can really tie those all together? And for me, it's a word I've heard repeatedly this morning, and it's a very simple one, and it's hope. Because without hope, what is there? Without hope, why push on? Why plant a seed you never know might grow? Why move on to the next piece? Some of you will know my work that's associated with mental health and with well-being, and arguably depression is the absence of hope. It is the absence of anything. So hope ties together why we do what we do here. For our clients, who we invest money for, some 67 billion, it's the hope that they're going to give us money, and we're going to grow that money for them in a safe way that's going to exceed inflation. For the financial planners, it's hope for the future, that their future is sound and can be planned for. For this conference, it's hope about a brighter future through government funding, through innovation, through prizes, through a collaborative community that comes together and supports everything you're doing, because this community is the heart of this island. Finance is there, tourism is there, hospitality is there, but it's this community that we see everywhere we turn, from the produce on our shelves to the fields, to the crops, to the tunnels. And from what we sponsor through Regen and Luminaries, through now to the Evelyn Partners Jets netball team, to the Jersey Bulls women's football team, that too is about hope. It's about the hope that their endeavours are going to turn into something bigger, that there is a bar that has been set higher for them to then progress into. Bowl of Crock recently brought the double amputee skateboarder Felipe Nunez over to the island, which is the epitome of hope over adversity, of suffering something and still getting up and carrying on. So that is why we support this conference. It's why we support Genuine Jersey. It's why I support the things we do, because without hope, what is there? So, without further ado, I would love now to introduce Dr. Catherine Russell, Group Carbon and Sustainability Manager at Albert Bartlett. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. That was a really nice speech to follow on from, hope, and I think it's going to be reflected quite well in this presentation as well. First, I'd like to introduce myself. This is only my second time in Jersey, and my first time at this conference. My name is Catherine Russell, and I'm the Group Carbon and Sustainability Manager for Albert Bartlett. I have a PhD in food science from Heriot-Watt University in Edinburgh, and I've always known that I wanted to work in the food industry in some way or another, and somehow I've found myself into potatoes. I've been working in the fresh produce industry since 2019 in various roles, including market research, quality, technical, and now sustainability. I first joined the industry with Angus Softfruits, a berry company based in Scotland, and I've been with Albert Bartlett for the last 2 years. As you may have guessed from my title, my main specialty is carbon emissions. So I spend a lot of time gathering data, reporting, and trying to take action to reduce the footprint of our farming and manufacturing operations. But I also do get involved in quite a lot of other environmental activities, including water, biodiversity, and food waste. My goal is to help the food industry to manage the increasing challenges of meeting the increasing and challenging requirements of reporting and for governments and customers. Also importantly, to take advantage of the benefits of sustainability. So for example, resilience, efficiency, and reputation. On behalf of Albert Bartlett, thank you so much for inviting us to speak again this year. For those of you who may not know us, Albert Bartlett is a family-owned business and the UK's leading supplier of potatoes. The company began in 1948 with a beetroot boiling operation in Coatbridge in Scotland, near Glasgow. A few years later, Albert Bartlett was the first factory in Britain to pre-pack carrots into plastic bags, and the excitement doesn't end there. Thankfully. Over the years, the expanding company has stayed true to Albert's spirit of innovation and also the company's agricultural roots. We now specialise in growing, packing, processing of potatoes around the UK and Jersey. We sell fresh, frozen and chilled potatoes, including the Jersey Royal variety, and also mashed potato, chips and croquettes. Last year, our CEO, Alex Bartlett, was here to tell you about our merger with the Jersey Royal Company. The Jersey Royal Company is the largest farmer on the island and specialises in growing and packing the internationally recognised and protected Jersey Royal new potato. It's been an exciting year for the two companies. The merger allowed us to create a single streamlined supply chain for Jersey Royals. This has improved efficiency, quality control and marketing competitiveness, helping to secure the long-term future of the Jersey Royal crop. So the reason that I'm here today personally is to tell you about our sustainability strategy and then share an overview of the results from the cover crop competition, and then I'll announce the winners of the competition. But first, I have the privilege of sharing another highlight from this year. Last year, Alex told the story of our investment and marketing campaign for Jersey Royals and shared a teaser for our TV advert, as a few people have alluded to earlier. Now please sit back and if you haven't seen it, enjoy the full advert. Roll on Jersey Royal season.
Jersey Royal season.
As is hopefully evident from that, the business has a really strong connection with Jersey Royals, and we're really proud to be doing what we can to share that story and tell as many people as possible about the great Jersey Royal variety. Marketing and economic sustainability are a key part of Albert Bartlett's plan to be a sustainable business, alongside environmental sustainability, which I'll tell you a bit more about now. So Albert Bartlett has 5 key sustainability focus areas. Those are to take action against climate change, to implement good water stewardship, to protect and enhance biodiversity, to maximise recycling and minimise waste, and to purchase goods and services responsibly. The company is committed to meet ambitious carbon emissions reduction targets. These have been validated by the Science Based Targets Initiative. This is an initiative that is globally recognised and helps companies to set a target to reduce their emissions at a pace that's ambitious enough to hopefully prevent global warming from and global average temperatures from breaching the 1.5 degree increase above. Sorry, you'd think I'd know this because I'm an expert. Pre-industrial levels, thus preventing the worst impacts of climate change. Basically, if the climate reaches more than 1.5 degrees above that, the impacts could become more frequent and severe. So Albert Bartlett's targets are to reduce our manufacturing operations by carbon emissions by 42% by 2030, and to reduce carbon emissions from our farming and also all of our agricultural ingredients that we source, including potatoes and dairy products, by 30% by 2030 versus a 2020 baseline. We had our targets validated in August last year, and we've set ourselves quite an ambitious target, so I have quite a job to do. In our operations, we're aiming for ISO 50001 Energy Management System certification by the end of this year. So far, 2 of our sites have completed the audit successfully, and we just have 1 more audit to go next week, once I'm back in Scotland. And at that audit, we're hoping to have our head office in Airdrie and our 2 packing sites in Jersey certified with the system. This management system will act as a valuable step on our journey towards net zero by helping us to improve our processes for monitoring and reducing energy use and improving our efficiency and reducing carbon emissions. In our potato supply chain in the UK, we're also improving our sustainability. We recently purchased a new 4-row De Wolf Certa planter, which has been used across 300 acres in the east of England this year. The planter combines soil cultivation, planting and ridging in a single pass, which reduces soil disturbance, reduces fuel used and saves time by allowing planting with less trips around the field. We've also recently started to supply Certis renewables with some of our surplus potatoes. So often they go to stock feed, and now some of them are going to this company who's using them to create sustainably produced chemicals, replacing fossil fuels as a feedstock. We're transitioning to low impact varieties, so ones that are drought tolerant, use less nitrogen, are more pest and disease resistant and therefore have higher yields. These will help us to reduce the amount of fertilizer and fuel that we use per tonne of potatoes and will help improve our resilience in the face of climate change. And how does all of that filter into what we're doing in Jersey? I came to Jersey for the first time last December, and I was really interested to learn about the heritage of the Jersey Royal variety. I was also just so impressed to see how embedded sustainable farming practices are here on the island and in our operations. Jersey Royal company fertiliser use has already been reduced by around 15 to 20% on average by replacing spreaders with placement machines. This allows the farming operations to use only the amount of fertiliser that they absolutely need in the area where it's needed most. Application rates were also optimised so that fertiliser use could be further reduced where possible without impacting yield. Vrac, a type of seaweed, is also used in some cases to enhance soil health by adding nutrients and organic matter. Electricity on the island is very low carbon because it comes from a majority of renewable and nuclear sources. We're also doing what we can to contribute to that. So we have solar panels on our pack house at Trinity, and we're also planning a new large installation of solar panels on our Peacock pack house. And there's so much being done to support nature on the island that it's definitely not all going to be covered in one slide or today, but I will be focusing on that soon. In terms of how Albert Bartlett is trying to contribute to this and continuously improve the sustainability of Jersey Royals, this year we've successfully trialled some new LED light tubes for potato chitting. Replacing our traditional fluorescent bulbs, if we go ahead with this, will significantly reduce our electricity use. We're also reducing the impact of our potato packaging. So for example, this summer we created a custom-built cardboard display for Jersey Royal potatoes. This went into retail stores and helped to shield the potatoes from light, while also preventing compression damage, and enabled people to buy loose Jersey Royals while protecting their quality. And it acted as a really eye-catching and attractive display. We're also reducing plastic packaging because many of our potatoes are packed in plastic film. So we're reducing and standardizing the width per pack, and the thickness of film has also been reduced. So less weight of plastic per pack and less waste during changeovers in the pack house. And we're rolling out a new database called FarmTrack. This has been using to collect data from our growers and own farming operations on Jersey, which will help us to monitor sustainability in much more detail. And also, I'm sure it's having benefits for other parts of the supply chain as well. So the rest of the slides today were put together by my manager, Fiona Ross. She's been the project manager for the cover crop competition. And unfortunately, she wasn't able to make it today, so I was lucky enough to come instead. So I'll do my best to cover all of the details and do justice to her efforts and those of our sponsors, partners, and the growers that contributed to the competition. The slides also include some really good examples of the wider efforts on the island to make Jersey a model for sustainable farming practices. These include improving hedgerows, leaf mark certification, and collaboration between farmers and environmental groups such as Birds on the Edge. I thought hedgerows would be a great place to start this section because they're such a key part of Jersey's rural landscape, which is uniquely made up of hundreds of small fields bordered by hedgerow boundaries. Hedgerows act as a valuable wildlife habitat and food source, providing nectar, pollen, fruit, and berries. They provide wildlife corridors to enable safe travel around the island. They act as windbreaks and shelter belts. They help to clean the air, for example, by trapping exhaust fumes. They prevent soil erosion and runoff, and they store carbon. And Jersey's very privileged to have so many good hedgerows and such small fields. It's very good for the biodiversity. The National Trust for Jersey, Jersey Royal Company, and farmers on the island have been working together to plant hedgerow corridors as part of the Hedge Fund campaign initiated in 2019. The target for planting 30 miles of native hedgerows was met and exceeded. Maintenance of these is a continual effort and something that we continue to value and contribute to as part of our farming operations. Sensitive management of hedgerows is also invaluable for wildlife. So, for example, avoiding cutting more than necessary during breeding seasons between March to August, checking for active nests and wildlife before trimming, and using gentle cutting methods to protect the habitat for the birds, bats, mammals, butterflies, amphibians, and more that use them. The Jersey Royal Company farming operations have been Leaf Mark certified for many years, and the company has been a leaf demonstration farm since 2020. Leaf Mark is a standard for sustainable farming, which involves following the principles of integrated farm management. This means planning the use carefully of soil, water, fertilizers, pesticides, waste, and energy in a way that's aligned in best practice with farming for nature. Third-party audits are also part of this, so making sure that every year someone comes and checks that the standards being followed and that continuous improvement is being seen. In June, the Jersey Royal Company hosted its annual Open Farm Sunday event. Open Farm Sunday is a really good opportunity for the public to come onto farms, learn a bit more about what it's like to be a farmer. And And I think it's really important these days when many people are so far removed from where their food comes from and don't understand the work that goes into producing it. At the event, an open field was planted specially for the demonstration so that people could pick their own potatoes and ride in a harvester. The Peacock Packhouse was also open for tours, giving people the chance to see the amount of technology and work that gets into getting potatoes from the farm to the customer. We estimate that over 1,500 people attended the event this year. Another collaboration for nature is the work being done by Birds on the Edge. Their goal is to protect Jersey's coastal and farmland bird species. The partnership between farmers and the environmental group includes planting conservation crops, including overwinter birdseed, to provide winter food sources, supporting education and outreach around farmland bird conservation, and restoration of habitats that have been lost or degraded, with a focus on key bird species such as yellowhammers, skylarks, and stonechats. This is a really great example of the wider efforts on the island to make Jersey a model for sustainable farming practices. Finally, I'll get on to the purpose and tell you a bit more about the Jersey cover crop competition. Cover crops are grown between potato harvests and have various benefits, including improving soil health by protecting soil from erosion and increasing the level of organic matter. This helps to improve soil water management. They can also add nutrients such as nitrogen and have various other agronomic benefits. For example, hot mustard has biofumigation properties, which allow it to reduce the number of pests, pathogens, and weeds present in the soil. Despite the name, cover crops are not harvested for sale and are often tilled into the soil after they're grown to maximize the soil health benefits. I know that growers in Jersey are well experienced with using cover crops to complement the unique farming system on the island. This puts them ahead of the curve, with cover crops now becoming increasingly popular as part of a move to increase the environmental benefits and their growing role in regenerative farming. The annual Jersey Cover Crop Competition was launched in 2024. Its purpose is to recognise and reward the farmers who are leading the use of cover crops in Jersey, to share information about the benefits of cover crops, and to measure the positive ecological outcomes, which include the provision of valuable wildlife habitats and food supply for birds and pollinators. The competition includes 4 categories, which are the best bird, pollinator, visual, and soil health cover crop, as well as an award for the overall winner. Judging was done by environmental experts who looked at both early and late season cover crops to give everybody a fair chance of entering their cover crops while they were looking their best. Although I know that this has been a particularly challenging season. On behalf of Fiona and the rest of the team who've been involved, I'd like to express my heartfelt thanks to the farmers, partners, and sponsors that have participated this year. Your perseverance will have really made a difference for wildlife on the island during this difficult year. And hopefully the fact that you've managed to persevere this year means we can also expect bigger and better things next year, although we never know what's going to happen next. The cover crop competition was complemented by a research study by Jess Sandel-Brownlee to measure the impacts of cover crops on local pollinator populations, soil health, and bird diversity. The study was carried out using fit counts as a way to collect data on pollinator populations. Fit counts are completed by counting the numbers and types of different pollinators within a small transect of a cover crop field, basically counting the number of bumblebees that appear within that space within an allotted amount of time. The counts were conducted on each of the different cover crop types versus grass, which was used as a control. First, the simple part. As you might expect, the pollinator cover crops significantly outperformed the other cover crops and the control for both pollinator abundance and diversity. On your left, the pollinator abundance, with pink being the pollinator mix, which is way ahead of the rest. And on the right, pollinator diversity, again, with the pink pollinator mix being in the lead. It's great when things work out as they are supposed to, because it's not always guaranteed. Now the complicated part. The aim of this was to gain a deeper understanding of pollinator behaviours and the impacts of different flower types. The main pollinators seen throughout the study included bumblebees, honeybees, hoverflies, and butterflies, as well as in lower quantities, beetles, flies, and solitary bees. For pollinator studies, a floral unit is the part of the flower that the pollinator can travel around and walk about without flying away. So, for example, this could be the small flower of a dandelion or the entire top of a sunflower. Both would be classed as one floral unit. Different features of floral units include their shape and colour. These impact the diversity and abundance of pollinator visits to the flower. For example, spikes, such as those seen on Phacelia, had significantly more bumblebee visitors than other floral units. Understanding pollinator preferences like these could be used in future for two different reasons. The first would be to target interventions by planting preferred flowers for a specific pollinator type. The second would be to promote the maximum abundance and diversity of pollinators by selecting the best all-rounders. In summary, the project demonstrated measurable ecological benefits, with highlights of some mixes including a 30% increase in pollinator populations, a 15% improvement in soil organic matter, and a 25% increase in bird visitations. Phacelia was identified as a favourite among pollinators, and hot mustard and forage radish also performed well. In addition to the above, the cover crop competition has been used to promote and share the story of the sustainable farming practices in Jersey. These are just some examples of the press coverage of the competition. Despite the season's challenges, we've had some great entries this year. I've just been able to give you a really quick flavour of the research completed as part of the competition. And I'm sure that I've only scratched the surface of the research that the team, with the help of Jess, have done behind the scenes. So if there is any more you would like to know, please get in touch with myself and I'll be able to pass you on to some of the experts that will be able to tell you a lot more. Before announcing the winners, I just want to quickly congratulate all of the participants and thank you for being part of this innovative project and competition. And now, without further ado, to give out the prizes, please welcome Kirsten Morell to the stage. And Tim Ward. And apologies for my voice. I obviously enjoyed the dinner last night a bit too much. After a thorough evaluation by an expert panel of judges, including representatives from Jersey Birds on the Edge, Norman Seed Suppliers, the States of Jersey Environment Office, and Jersey Dairy, winners were selected for their pioneering cover cropping techniques that enhance biodiversity and sustainable agriculture on the island. So when I call out the winners, if you just come up and receive your award, and everyone can just clap for the whole time they're up because they deserve it. So the winner of the best bird cover crop is Paul, Peter, and Matt Carey from Fossil Bois Growers. I'll just get quick photos of everyone. Congratulations. You can take a seat if you want. Next, the winner of the best visual cover crop was Peter, Phil Sr. and Phil Jr. Lemaitre from Master Farms. Congratulations. Next, we have the best pollinator cover crop, with the winner being Nick Moran from Melesh Farms. And the winner of the best soil health cover crop was Joe Martins and Adrian Baudin from Jersey Royal Company Blue Team. And finally, the overall winner. This grower has made significant investment with cover crops as far as the eye could see. The species range was excellent, and there was a good variety of height, shape, colour and flowering time. It looked superb, was alive with pollinators, and will be a great food source for a variety of fauna over winter. This was a unanimous decision for all the judges, and the overall cover crop winner, with the standout site, Le Catalet St John, was Nick Moron from Milish Farms.
Great stuff. Catherine, thank you very much. Congratulations, everyone. Brilliant. We are running a little behind, so I think I'm just going to stick to 3 questions. If you've asked a question and it's not asked, please do grab Catherine over lunch, and I know that she would be really pleased to talk to you. So first question here, with so many day-to-day pressures, how did the company initially carve out the time and headspace to start focusing on sustainability and net zero? Because it can be lower down the list for people when they've got everything else to do.
I think the key thing was that we felt we didn't have a choice. It has to be part of your business, sustainability these days. So we've always had a strong commitment to sustainability, and being a family-owned business as well, there's a lot of reputational reasons to focus on sustainability, but also long-term business resilience.
This one here, soil care, does not feature on the 5 priorities that you've mentioned. Soil is a starting point for healthy food. So will soil care form part of your strategy for Jersey in the future?
Yeah, soil care is part of the strategy. It's just not separately called out. So it's part of our biodiversity pillar alongside other things. I think soil interacts with a lot of different areas as well. For example, sustainable water management. So it's definitely part of that. And we'd be open to any suggestions. I create the strategy, but I'm obviously not on the ground in Jersey all the time, so if there's anything specific that makes sense here, I'm more than happy to hear from you.
Great, thank you, Catherine. Will you as a company overall stop using glyphosate, which negatively impacts the water system, soil health, biodiversity, and ultimately people's health?
I'm not a farming expert, I'm afraid, so I'm going to have to pass, but if you get in touch, we can follow up directly. Yeah. Do you want to go in front of the microphone?
Hi, so I'm Mike Renoir, so I work with the Jersey Royal Company. There's a few myths about glyphosate that I'd like to try and clear up. Firstly, as we heard from Jersey Water, we've not had any pesticide breaches in the water this year, which is good news. We use chemicals, whatever chemical it is, as safely as we can, put best practice in place. We do use glyphosate before the potato crop to destroy some of the weed bank. If we didn't destroy that weed bank, we'd be using harsher chemicals on our potato crop to control those weeds. So glyphosate does have a small place to get rid of some of that weed bank. I think the other thing is that a lot of the glyphosate stories are around cancer-inducing chemicals, and a lot of areas will use glyphosate to basically kill off the crops that they're producing. So wheat crops, to make red wheat, they use glyphosate to desiccate that crop. We don't use it in that way here in Jersey. We're using it purely as a weed control. And if we're using it carefully, there should be no impact to the environment at all.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much for coming up to
you.
answer that. Appreciate it. Catherine, thank you to you as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.